Hey everybody, welcome into Faith in Football. My name is Neil, and guys, we are this close to the kickoff of the 2025 season. 1 week from today, we will have real meaningful football, which is not only meaningful for the season, but meaningful for fantasy. So this episode, we're going to roll through my last mock draft of the season. We're going to do it from the fourth position. This is the position of champions. This is where a lot of your champs want to choose from. Now, this year, however, I personally would rather a back half of the draft uh, spot, but we'll go through that a little bit later. As you know, this is Faith in Football, as I said earlier. So we're putting faith before football, as we should with all parts of our life. So, what are we talking about today? We're talking about what's in you. Now, what is in your draft and what is in you? What is inside here? You know, growing up, Nike came out with this slogan that is carried throughout the years, throughout the decades. Just do it. Now, it just so happens that Michael Jordan came out with his own pair of shoes, his own pair of Nikes. Everybody knows the story. If you haven't watched the documentary, check it out. I believe it's on ESPN. But there was a saying, it's got to be the shoes. Now, it just so happens I happen to get a belated birthday present from my son Colt. How cool is this? Personalized Washington Redskins shoes from Nike. He didn't know, I had no idea that I was getting this, and he didn't know I was going to be doing this podcast or this channel episode on this subject. So, how fitting is it that I get Nikes, who not only came up with the just do it, but also it's got to be the shoes. Now, let me ask you something. We've all heard of the Hall of Fame if we haven't been there. In Canton, Ohio, it's got pictures, memorabilia, stats, things like that of all of the great players that have played in the NFL. Now, what if I were to tell you that we have a Hall of Fame that is just dedicated to apparel? Sound crazy, right? Because it's not the shoes, it's not the shirt, it's not the jersey, it's not the pads, it's not the helmet, it's not the things that we have on the outside, but the person that was in those things that made them special. Think about that for a minute. Just because you put on Jerry Rice's number does not make you Jerry Rice. Just because you put on, I don't know, Jamar Chase's jersey does not make you a great receiver. Just because you may put on Lamar Jackson's jersey doesn't make you a great quarterback. So it's not what is on the outside, but it's what's on the inside. I feel like I've heard that somewhere. Oh, that's right. Heard that from the Bible, where it says that man looks on the outward appearance, but God looks on the heart. So when I tell you that it's more important about what's on the inside as opposed to what's on the outside, I'm not just picking this out of thin air. This is coming straight from biblical reference. When Samuel, the prophet, went to go anoint the second king of Israel, he thought that he saw the one, that he knew who it was going to be. It was going to be the oldest brother or son of Jesse. But God said, no, do not look upon the outward appearance. For man looks on the outward appearance, but I look at the heart. I know what's on the inside, says the Lord. So My question is, what's in you? See, all of this is the outward appearance. See, I've had people meet me in person before and they say, some of them say that I look grumpy or that I look mean or that I'm angry or that I'm unapproachable, things like that. But if you knew what was on the inside, I really can be a nice guy, believe it or not. I can be caring, sincere, personable, but people want to judge what they see on the outside. Maybe you've been judged before. Maybe you've been, put in situations where you have to act a certain way and people don't really know how to take you, and that's fine. But what's on the inside? What is within you that God's going to see? The Apostle Paul put it like this in Galatians chapter 2, verse 20. It says, I have been crucified with Christ, and I no longer live, but Christ lives in me. The life I now live in the body, I live by faith in the Son of God who loved me and gave himself for me. So when we accept, pardon me, when we accept Christ, invite the Holy Spirit to live within us. So we put God on the inside of us. We are supposed to exude, we are supposed to mirror and imitate what God or Jesus or the Holy Spirit would be like. We're supposed to be the hands and feet of God here on earth. So it's God that lives in us. Paul, in writing to the church at Corinth in 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 19, puts it this way. It says, do you not know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit who is in you, whom you have received from God? You are not your own. So we have an obligation, we have a owing to God to show what is inside of Him by showing what is inside of us to others. We're supposed to be kind. We're supposed to be generous. We're supposed to be merciful to others. We're supposed to show how God would act in certain situations, show how Jesus would act in certain situations. Now, Jesus did get upset. He did get angry. I mean, he flipped tables, basically flipping tables in church because he was so offended by what was going on. When was the last time you actually got offended for God? I mean, I know a lot of times in this society, different people get offended for other people that they have absolutely no association with. It's crazy to me because it's almost like if you get offended for a group of people that you're not part of, how is that meaningful? Carries no meaning behind it. You're basically telling that group of people that they're not smart enough to know they're being offended, so you're going to do it for them. That just doesn't make sense. But yet, we will be fine with society glorifying sex outside of marriage, glorifying drug usage, wild living, promiscuity, and tearing down marriages from the traditional sense, making a mockery of the institution that God put into place. Now, that doesn't seem right to me. So, I ask you today as we go through this mock draft and we try to determine what's in your draft, what's in your team, what's in your build to make a championship team. I ask you, what is in you to make a champion for Christ? So, with that thought going into this mock draft, welcome into Faith in Football. If you're new to the channel, welcome in. Uh, Sorry if I went a little heavy there, but the Word of God is not a light subject or a subject to be taken lightly. So occasionally you have to go hard. Kind of like in life and fantasy football. Sometimes you just got to go after what you want. So, welcome in. My name is Neil, and we're about to kick off the second and last mock draft of the season before we get into it. But before we do, if you're a follower of the show, you guys know what that means. It means that I'm giving a shout out to Zia Rose History Grill at 235 Duce Road off of Johnson Street, Lafayette, Louisiana. Guys, if you go down there, they're under construction, so it's okay. You can still get in. They're not closed. Go on in and mention that you heard about them from this show, and you can get your own free appetizer for the table, whatever you want. The Kung Pao cauliflower, yes, they're deep frying cauliflower there. It's got a little bit of a kick, but don't be worried about it. It's not bad enough to put you off of it. Trust me, I know. You can get the ribs if you want to try the Thai ribs, see what everybody's raving about, because that is one of the most popular dishes there. You want hummus, you want something for the table. The Mediterranean hummus is absolutely out of this world. Just ask my better half, my wife. She absolutely loves it. Now she makes a few modifications to it, but that's neither here nor there. You can too if there's something you don't want on it. They are famous for taking care of special requests from their guests. Now, if you want some catering done, you're in the area, give them a call, 337 2 yeah, 337 406 0013, and you can talk to Andy or whoever picks up the phone, and they'll be more than happy to help you with an offsite at your place catering or pickup order, or even get a spot in the back room where we're going to be this coming Tuesday, the 2nd. We're going to be there, big screen TV in the back, hooked up, doing the draft live with my buddies. We're going to be there, and I'm going to effort to go live so you guys can see what the room looks like, see the setup, and see the amazing food that we're going to get, and take a look at what my very sweetest sponsor is going to be bringing. That is Dusty from Keller's Bakery in Youngsville at 627 Lafayette Street. They are open. Guys, go down there, check them out. Even if you don't buy anything, which I don't know if you can actually walk in there and not buy something, but in case you can, mention the show, get you 2 free cookies, and tell Dusty Neil says, hey, what's happening? So go down there and check them out. And look, if you want a king cake, if you've got a birthday like I just had, you got one coming up, go down there, check them out, find them on Facebook, place your birthday order today, or they still got you covered, even though it's not king cake season. They will still hook you up with a delicious king cake from Keller's Bakery in Youngsville at 627 Lafayette Street, Youngsville, Louisiana. Also, don't forget if you're downtown, got a bunch of activities happening right now down there. If you find yourself there, you're a little hungry, you don't want a real sit down thing, you just want something for on the go. Maybe you forgot to pick up dinner or you really can't decide on what to get. Me's Groceries at 603 Jefferson Street inside of Gordon Square got you covered. They are a great purveyor of local purveyors. They actually have over 200 different items from over 50 local vendors in the area. Look, they got beef jerky, locally made. They got farm fresh eggs. They've got freeze dried candy. And guys, I can kill me some freeze dried candy. It's absolutely delicious with or without the teeth. So go down there and check them out. 603 Jefferson Street inside of Gordon Square. Tell them Neil sent you, and tell Bradley down at Amis Groceries that I say, how you doing? Appreciate the sponsorship. So let's get into it. We're going to do a little screen share here, and we're going to start with our mock draft. Alrighty. So as I said, it's a 12-man PPR 14 round draft. We're gonna get rolling here. Just a second. Let me move myself over here. Now, y'all are gonna have to forgive me, but I'm gonna look a little older right now because I gotta wear these to make sure I'm picking the right guys. Look, if you want to make sure that you are getting the right guys, not only do you have to do a little research, do a little checking, a little fact checking, and if you guys missed it, last episode that I did, we went through the top five, bottom five, uh, passing schedule, rushing schedule, and overall schedule, along with the top five and bottom five defenses, which is going to pay off here when you guys draft. Now, this weekend is the largest draft weekend of the season. A lot of people are going to get theirs knocked out here. We're actually pushing ours until the end. Now, for those of you who don't remember, Rashid Rice came out today that he actually has accepted and will serve a 6-game suspension starting this season with week 1. And depending upon where their bye week falls, you're looking at not being able to use him until week 8. So that's something to keep in mind when you're drafting. And you want to pick up guys. Now, Jordan Addison is serving a 3-game suspension, so that's not as bad, but it's still something to take into consideration when he does pop up. Dealing with injuries, I encourage you to check with uh, Tom Paracello and Adam Schefter with ESPN. Those guys are absolutely phenomenal when it comes to updating injury reports. Also, Stefania Bell is also a great source to have. Make sure you're plugged in into ESPN, NFL.com, and Sleeper for all of your up to the minute injury reports. Okay, guys. So let's go ahead and get this rolling here. So here we go. So off the board, we have Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Jamar Chase. Now, here's the thing is that I don't believe that this is going to actually happen in your home draft. I believe that Jamar Chase is the 101 overall, followed by Bijan and Gibbs. So yeah, these three are going to be off the board, but not necessarily in that order. Also, there's some argument here for Saquon Barkley and Justin Jefferson, maybe even CeeDee Lamb. So if I'm in this spot, faced with this decision, see, I really can't take Amon Ra over any of these other guys. So with this happening, I would have loved to have gotten Gibbs or Robinson in this spot if Saquon had been taken before me. But since he wasn't, let's go ahead and we'll take Saquon off next. Justin Jefferson, Puka Nacua, which I am surprised just for the simple fact that Puka is going to be hindered a little bit by uh, Matthew Stafford and his health. So after that, we have CeeDee Lamb, Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, who is climbing a little bit. And then we have Amon-Ra St. Brown, Nico Collins, Malik Neighbors, who is currently also dealing with a couple of injuries. We have a shoulder, a back, and um, a soft tissue injury that he's been dealing with. Ashton Genty, rookie running back for the Raiders, is starting to fall a little bit. People are starting to remember all the hype over Marvin Harrison Jr. last year. So that's something to keep an eye on. Drake London and Brian Thomas Jr. off the board. Great picks there. Love that combo of Nico and London. And then Josh Jacobs. This right here, I love this start because you basically just locked up running back, um, your running back room right there, and then you can go straight after wide receivers. Unfortunately, you are missing out on the top guys when you do something like this. Now, this CeeDee Lamb, Josh Allen typically is going number one QB overall, usually right around this time. Brock Bowers, him and Nakua, you potentially locked up your number one overall wide receiver spot, your tight end, your onesie position. I would definitely, if I'm going to do this, I'm not going to be drafting one of the top quarterbacks at the position if I have a premier tight end. So let's check out other running backs that we've got at this spot. I'm not really seeing anybody that I want this high, even Bucky Irving or Jonathan Taylor, definitely not. Next up for wide receiver, it's meh. I can take it or leave it with the Ladd McConkey thing. I'm a little worried about Keenan Allen. I know, and plus the fact that they have a really tough passing schedule, so that leaves doing something I haven't really done in a whole lot of mocks, and that's take Trey McBride in the second. I seem normally falling to the back end of the second, but I'm fine doing that for him. Chase Brown off the board. That was one running back that I wish had a fallen to me. But let's go ahead and check out wide receiver in this spot. Now, in the third, taking a guy like T. Higgins, absolutely ideal in this spot. JSN, I don't know. As I said before, I'm not really sold on Sam Darnold being the Sam Darnold of last year. Shout out to the Ballers for their time machine episode that was on Wednesday, so yesterday. You guys go check that out if you haven't checked it out already. Um, so yeah, so I'll go ahead. One of the worst defenses and one of the best schedules for passing. These guys, Cincinnati is going to have to score a ton of points. So let me go ahead with this. Yeah, I do want to point out this right here. This Chase Brown, Jamar Chase combo, that is not something that I want to do right here. So if this was my team here and I had Jamar Chase fall to me at the third and then to take Kyron Williams, I would have taken somebody like Bucky Irving in this spot. So after that, we've got uh, the aforementioned Bucky Irving off the board. Breece Hall going extremely high. I don't see Breece going this high in a lot of leagues unless you guys are uninformed. Which I mean, with some home teams, that's very possible. So then we have JSN going off the board. That's not a bad pick. I can see that Garrett Wilson going in the third. Jaden Daniels being the next one off in the third. That is a very popular pick. And then followed by Burrow and Hurts was interesting just for the simple fact that a lot of times Burrow has not been going until the fourth round, possibly even the fifth, depending upon team build. Now, this one right here comes back with Kamara after going with Hurts, and then Walker, Ken Walker, the running back for Seattle. Look, I'd be happier taking Charbonnet much later than taking Walker right now. George Kittle, love this pick in the fourth. Um, Marvin Harrison Jr. all the way to the fourth. Remember, guys, last year this guy was going in the back end of the first. It was crazy. So a lot of people laid off of him primarily for, as the ballers put it, Moody Murray. So Murray, a big hindrance to him. And then Devontae Adams, again, same concerns with Puka and Matthew Stafford's health. And then Mike Evans, DK Metcalf, DJ Moore going. So let's take a look real quick at the build. We've got one wide receiver. We've got our onesie position. I've got I'm sorry, running back and then my onesie and my tight end with McBride, then Higgins. So let's stay on and you guys see how high Rashid Rice is here. There's no way that, and this is just because ADP has not caught up to him yet. Um, Now, I will do this. I tell you guys right now, I'm torn here, and it's between two guys. Let me see what we're looking at running back. Oh, here we go. Okay, so I'm cool letting a couple wide receivers slide, but I definitely want to scoop up a Mario Hampton, the rookie running back, and then we get McLaurin, Sutton, Laporta gone, Chuba Hubbard, David Montgomery, Rashid Rice going way earlier than what he should be in the fifth. But we did have one of the wide receivers fall that I was looking for. Now, here's the question you have to ask yourself. I'm in the fifth round, and I have a possibility to take a guy here in Xavier Worthy who is going to be very valuable for fantasy football for at least 6 weeks until Rashid Rice comes back. Now, do I believe in Xavier Worthy? Yes. Do I believe in the Chiefs offense? Yes. But if I take him, I'm taking him with the expectation to maybe move him for a haul in the fifth week, possibly even the fourth if he gets off to a really good start. Or do I want to go Devontae Smith or reach for Teteron McMillan, who I'm extremely high on and I know is not going to come back to me? So, given that choice, knowing that the Eagles have a very tough schedule coming up, knowing that Xavier Worthy is only going to be like top flight until Rashid Rice gets back. And then, even then, I'm not sure exactly how the offense in Kansas City wants to work this year. Now, if I didn't have my bias and I didn't have my streak of not picking a Dallas player, even in mock drafts, I might consider George Pickens here, but I'm going to go ahead with the rookie and I'm going to reach a little bit for Teteron McMillan and take him. After that, we got James Conner, Travion Henderson, TJ Hawkinson, Zay Flowers, Xavier Worthy finally going off at 5'9", Mahomes, Pacheco, Devontae Smith going again. And then we see this run on wide receivers here with Hunter, Waddle, Pickens, Devontae Williams or Jameson Williams, Jerry Jeudy, Bo Nix. In between that, we got RJ Harvey gone. Travis Kelce, who could be a very sneaky start and pick to being taken as the 2, 6 tight end off the board. So, do I want to stay wide receiver or is this time to pull the trigger on a quarterback? Not just yet, simply because right now I'm past the big five. I'm into that next tier. And let me point out to you guys, when you're going off of ADP, we see this list right here. That doesn't mean that you stick to that. As you saw with me going down a little bit, I get Teteron McMillan. I knew he wasn't going to come back to me. And he's in the same tier, TIER, as guys like Flowers and Worthy and Smith and Pickens. So even though I believe that he's as good as these guys, I believe that he is the top of that tier with those guys. So I obviously I take him over these other players that were taken after him. Now, as far as quarterback goes, Sorry for the pop-up here, guys. Oh, I hate pop-ups. Okay, here we go. So, as I was saying before we got so rudely interrupted, um, these guys in this quarterback tier right here, um, I can take them at any time. I'm perfectly fine letting them slide by. However, oh, and the other thing, Joe Mixon is going to start this year on the pup list. So, one guy I don't want to let slip away is my boy Tony Pollard. So, let's go ahead and take him. Now, one receiver that I would have loved to have fallen back to me was Calvin Ridley. I'm really big on Calvin Ridley, but if I take Calvin Ridley, I'm not taking Tony Pollard. Same reason between why I said about this team right here. I just got Chase Brown. I'm not taking the receiver and the running back because it's just splitting points, and you really don't want to do that. So, with that being said, I'm pretty much set on wide receiver or on running back, so I'm going to stay off of that for a little while. Let's check out what we have at wide receiver. And let's go to all. So we see Mark Andrews here, Evan Ingram. If I didn't already have a tight end, this might be the spot where I'm looking for it. Evan Ingram, I love as a late round tight end. I think he's going to do big things with Bo Nix and in that system that Sean Payton has. Quinton Judkins, the rookie running back for Cleveland. Remember, guys, still not signed. Um, he is not going to be facing any criminal charges stemming from an incident in Florida, I believe last year for domestic abuse, but that's neither here nor there. We're waiting on the fallout from for the NFL. So let's see here. So we have Tyler Warren's another good one. I'm not really seeing anybody. So let's go back to wide receiver real quick. Next up in the ADP is Chris Olave. Now, guys, the name Spencer Rattler, the starting quarterback, I'm way hands off of this. So I'm going to take a shot on a bounce back for Rome Odunze. So next off, Chris Olave goes, Caleb Johnson, Quinton Judkins, David Njoku. Great pick there, just for the simple fact I like that because Joe Flacco is now the starting quarterback. And right before my pick, Mbuka goes, the rookie wide receiver for Tampa Bay Bucks. Hey, as a bowler say, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. This is one that I would have loved to have gotten back. However, we've got another great option at wide receiver. He's on a team that has the easiest passing schedule, the easiest overall schedule, and he is one of the few wide receivers on this team that is healthy and has chemistry with his quarterback, and that would be Ricky Pearsall. Now, after that, we got Cam Scatterboo, Chris Godwin, who is still dinged up, even though he will not start on the pup. So right here in the ninth, this is a good spot for me to take a glance at quarterback and see who we've got. Now, I want you guys to look at the rest of the board here. So we're going to scroll up. So I've got 1, two I've got two teams without a quarterback. However, Murray, Herbert, and Purdy, between those three, there's six chances that I can miss this guy that I want. And with me just taking Ricky Pearsall in the eighth round, coming down to the ninth and putting together a stack like this, I'll put together the Purdy Pearsall stack. And we'll go ahead, we'll take care of our quarterback now. Now, if I wasn't so laden with top flight running backs, I would have definitely been looking at Jordan Mason or Zach Charbonnet at this point. Now, after that, we've got Josh Downs, another pick I like with Danny Dimes, Daniel Jones in Indianapolis. Keon Coleman, who I've heard some analysts talk about being a dark horse to be the number one in Buffalo, even though they paid Khalil Shakir this offseason. Now, Dak Prescott goes, and as I said, Murray, Herbert, and Prescott gone. Now, here's the thing, is that Prescott goes to the Burrow manager. Herbert goes to one of the three teams that didn't have a quarterback, and Murray went to the guy picking right after me. So if I didn't take Purdy, I've got a sneaky suspicion that he would have been gone and I would have been unable to fulfill my stack. So let's check out who we've got left at wide receiver. Brandon Ayuk starting the season on the pup. Nobody knows when he's going to be back. Darnell Mooney listed as questionable. I'm not really excited about taking the number two on Atlanta, and when he's actually probably going to be at least the number three, possibly even the number four option in this offense. Remember, it was Kirk Cousins that absolutely loved Darnell Mooney, and we're dealing with Michael Penix Jr., who tends to favor Drake London, so that's something to keep an eye on. So Raheed Shaheed, the deep threat in New Orleans, but again, I'm not pinning any kind of hopes on uh, on Spencer Rattler. Now, let's take a look at running back. Not really anybody that I want to pay attention to at this point. But if I'm going to take a dart throw, I've got a few rookies. I got a few second-year guys. Let's add a little bit of veteran leadership to this group and take Keenan Allen going back to the Chargers and reunited with Justin Herbert. Now, to see Nick Chubb off the board here, that I can understand. You've got a good team there. Again, what they're doing with the offensive line, I don't know, because they did lose a guy or two on that O-line. But Joe Mixon is not going to be back anytime soon. He's gone at least a month. So Nick Chubb, look, he didn't look that great the last time we saw him. So this is definitely a dart throw late. And this manager also has Joe Mixon. So this is definitely not something I would do if this were my team. So now, after that, now Adam Thielen, it says down here that he's with Carolina. That actually is incorrect because he just got traded to the Minnesota Vikings. So he's going back home where he came from. So now, as we see here, I've got two running backs, four wide receivers, two flex, my tight end. Reality is that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 5 wide receivers, and I've got 3 running backs. So let me hammer out and see if I can get a little bit of depth. And lo and behold, round 11, Jacory Krusky Merritt, aka Bill from Capitol Hill, is sitting there. I got to pull the trigger on this, guys. I can't have the sign set behind me and not pull this trigger. I mean, come on. So Krusty Merrick's on my team. Now, Drake May, I'm loving this pick right here. Love Drake May this year. Got a little bit of rushing upside and something to prove. After that, Rashid Shaheed, Brandon Ayuk, and Jordan Love, Caleb Williams, Najee Harris. I'm not really wanting not anything to do with Najee. Jaden Blue, look, even though he's dinged up, it's the 12th round, so hey, go for it. We're all good. JJ McCarthy is somebody that I would definitely have loved to have snatched up. Let's check out. Okay, I see two guys that I'm looking at right now. We've got three picks left. Let's take a couple of shots at some guys who I believe are going to be higher upside in case something happens. I'm set at wide receiver. I'm running 5, 6 deep. I'm running 5 deep right now with that. Let's just take a look at it. You want to be taking a look because sometimes it is hard to keep up and remember who's been taken, who hasn't, who's still out there. Now, Isaac Tesla, definitely somebody that is worth paying attention to. So we'll see if he's still there in maybe the last round. Right now, I'm gonna go ahead and go Rashad Bateman, just for the simple fact that hey, if Lamar's going to throw for 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns again this year, then his touchdown guy is definitely going to be productive. And I'm not a big Zay Flowers guy. So go ahead and take Bateman here. We see Trey Harris, Braylon Allen, Christian Kirk, Tajay Spears, Adam Thielen, and we see that this has been corrected. He is in Minnesota. Bijan Tootin. Now, let's see. Here we go. Now, here's somebody that I want to definitely want on my team. Trey Benson, running back for Arizona. This is a handicap, a handcuff, if you will, uh, for James Conner, older running back. Yeah, Dylan Sampson, another guy that I'm definitely is worth a late round dart throw, as well as Jerome Ford. Now, here's the thing: Ford and Sampson, they're competing for the same job. If you take either one of these guys, whatever week they blow up, trade them away. Okay? Because as soon as Judkins comes back, it's going to get ugly quick. And after all, this is Cleveland. So now Ollie Gordon, with all the injuries that are going on in Miami, definitely Ollie Gordon is somebody that you want on your squad. And Tyler Algier, look, if you are the Bijan Robinson manager and you don't reach on Tyler Algier, what is going on with you? You need him to back up Bijan because if something happens to him, we all seen Tyler Algier be productive for fantasy and annoyingly so with an Arthur Smith defense or offense. But thankfully, Arthur Smith is no longer with Atlanta. So hopefully the Tyler Algier relief of Bijan will disappear this year and let Bijan truly shine. That's why he's going so high and the expectation is so great for his season this year. Now, the last guy I'm going to take here is a guy that, in case something happens to the running back running behind one of the best offensive lines in the league, if something happens to him, this is the guy you want on your squad. Real quick, let's go ahead and flash quarterback Michael Penix, Bryce Young, looking like these guys are going to go undrafted. So let's just say that I get out of here and I don't like one of my picks. I don't necessarily want to hold Bateman. Um, this would be my backup or my streamer on my bye week. Now we still have Matthew Stafford down here, Tua's down here, Jackson Dart, Aaron Rodgers, Sam Darnold, Geno Smith. There's a lot of names down here that you can stream if you don't want to clog up your roster with a second backup quarterback. So, as I was saying, Will Shipley is another handcuff that you want to be aware of. Bryce Young and Penix going the second, third, and second. That's funny. So, as I said, these guys might go undrafted in your league. I know if they're with my league and depend upon my build, I would love to take at least one of these guys, especially if I've got Teron McMillan on my team. Now, I did reach for him, having Shipley there as a handcuff. I'm I'm fine with this, with missing out on because I got Brock Purdy. So I think, we've seen Purdy do what he does is be Mr. Not Irrelevant, unlike his draft status would say. So there you are, guys. There's the draft in a nutshell. I'll tell you what, let me go ahead and pull this up real quick. Okay, so to round out the draft, let's see, we have, let's go ahead and start up here. Took Saquon. Now, here's the other thing is that because I've got Saquon, got to have Will Shipley because if something happens to him, I want some protection for that. Trey McBride got my onesie locked up. T. Higgins, Amario Hampton, Teron McMillan, Tony Pollard, great flex there. Uh, Roman Doomsday and Ricky Pearsall, two guys that I have very high expectations for this year. I'm gonna go Brock Purdy with my as my quarterback, and then adding a little veteran leadership, Keenan Allen, and then Bill Krusky. Bill Krusky, look, if all the hype is true, maybe, maybe not, but if it is all true, this guy can definitely take over this job. We've seen Austin Eckler. He's a little older, and he came to Washington, if you remember, for a lighter workload. So we'll see what happens with that. But with him this late in the draft, this isn't a guy I'm going to lean on for start as a starter. But if he pops, I definitely want this guy on my roster and not my opponent's. And then we got Rashad Bateman. Look, if Lamar pops, Lamar pops. And this is the guy he loves throwing touchdowns to. And then we got Trey Benson. Yeah, there's one injury away from him having a starting role and having a workhorse starting role. And we got Will Shipley. There's really not a whole lot of path for him. But if something happens to my number one pick, Saquon, I want some insurance on this. So there you are, guys. I hope that this helps you going into this weekend's drafting. Remember, September 2nd, make sure you subscribe, like, share, and hit the notification button so you guys can see when and if I go live for our draft day party at Zia in the back room. Don't forget to check them out. 235 Duce Road off of Johnson Street, Lafayette, Louisiana. And make sure you go down and check out in Youngsville, 627 Lafayette Street. Check out Keller's Bakery. Mention Faith in Football, get you two free cookies. Now, that's what was in our draft. That's what was in us fantasy football wise. Remember, it's not about the shoes, guys. The shoes are just shoes. It's what's inside them that matters. the same way that we're just humans, we're just mortal, but it's what's inside of us that's going to make us eternal, makes us, makes our destination for eternity. That's what's inside of us that's going to count. So, next time I see you guys, it's going to be a Tuesday. I may or may not be able to get a little episode done before that, but if I don't, I will see you guys for week one, start sit decisions. If you've got any questions, you've already done your draft, hit me up below. Let me help you out with your start sit decisions every week right here on Faith and Football. Every Tuesday, we're gonna review, we're gonna update injuries and look ahead to the coming weeks. I'll give you guys some pointers and things to look for, maybe some people to target for trades, things like that throughout the season. And for Thursday's episode, my start set every week for you guys to help y'all out. Remember, if you got questions, drop me a comment. Let me know what kind of league you're in, what the scoring system is, and what are your decisions what are your decisions that are facing you with your lineup. If you got a question spiritually, don't be afraid to drop that in the comment as well. I'm here for it all, guys. So until next time, and I'm so excited, can't wait. Special shout out to my nephew Lawson, who just got done with his draft. Um, he did take Rashid Rice, and we've already talked about it. The rest of his squad does look solid. So giving him a little tip on how to handle the Rashid Rice debacle. Hopefully he'll take my advice and take Keenan Allen with his last pick because he's fallen that far in that league. So leagues vary, guys. But anyway, and again, special shout out to my son Colt, who got me the awesome shoes. Love the shoes. Love it. These will be on my feet come draft day. I'm letting you know right now. I will be decked out head to toe in Redskin apparel. Guys, just wait and see. And look, check out. How cool is that? Now, they do say Commanders on this side, but this is what matters right here. So, just like what's on the outside of the shoe, what's on the outside that you're showing to the world? Does it reflect what's on the inside? Does it reflect Jesus? Questions I want you to ask yourself. I want you to think about when you get faced with difficult situations in your life. So, guys, as always, my name is Neil. Appreciate you guys tuning in to Faith and Football. We'll see you next time. And remember, football is good, but God is greater. We'll see you guys next time on Faith and Football. Good luck in your drafts. God bless.